We spent about 19 grand on solar panels and battery storage. The economics have changed a lot since then. Export rates are down, but then so is the cost of hardware. I wasn't sure whether I'd recommend them today, but whilst making this video, I went through the bills and the figures, and what I found out surprised me quite a lot. This is based on without a heat pump. We do actually have a heat pump, but we got the solar panels installed in 2022, end of 2022, and we got the heat pump installed, I think it was the beginning of 2024, maybe 2025. But I'll go through that in the heat pump in a future story. So let's get straight into it. And after, I will give a little bit of information, and hopefully I'll litter this with a bit of information as well. But I know you're here for the finances and the facts and figures, so let's get straight to it. Our system, we have 14 400 watt solar panels, so it's a 5.6 kilowatt system. We have 10 panels on the southwest facing rear roof. I don't know why I'm pointing, you can't see the house. And we have 4 panels on the front northeast facing roof. The rear panels pretty much do all the working in the winter, and the front panels only come into action in the summer, in summer evenings. An interesting thing, because when we first got it installed, I was checking the app, checking the usage, the export, the production all the time. Like I was obsessed. But I love stats. What interested me was what I was surprised by. Pleasantly surprised is that solar does not need sunshine to produce, just sunlight. So on summer cloudy days, we can still produce about 2 kilowatts. And on winter clear days, you still produce about 1.5 kilowatts, even though the front panels aren't doing anything in the winter. And obviously the sun's a lot lower. We have a 5 kilowatt Soltaro inverter in the garage. And I'll put some videos on screen of the front panel, the back panels, the front panels, and the Soltaro inverter in the garage. And we have 15 kilowatt hours worth of battery storage. Again, that's with Soltaro. Most of the time, the house actually hardly consumes anything. So, if you notice when I put the video of the inverter up, you'll see we're only using a couple of 100 watts. So apart from like when you've got the kettle, the hob, the oven, the dishwasher, or now we've got the heat pump running, the house will hardly consume anything. And this is where battery storage comes in handy. So when I was talking to the company that installed it, I was talking about that, and they said, yeah, you do pay more, but in the UK, that's when you really get your benefit. And I totally agree. The system was designed before we had a heat pump, and we had a heat pump into the system. But again, I'll go into that in a future video. And I will say the system was installed by a local supplier, and I'm based in the southwest of the UK, which again is also useful because if you're in the north, you might have totally different production to where I'm here, and they are called Sustain Heating Renewables. I will put a link to them in the description, and yeah, they were great. Would thoroughly recommend. At the time, we did have a gas boiler for the heating, and we were roughly using 12 kilowatt hours per day in electricity. As I said before, the system cost £19,000, just under, but I think you'd get the equivalent system for a lot cheaper now. There's a lot more options out there. So the Soltaro hardware apparently is really good. I mean, I've got nothing to compare it to, but I've been told the Soltaro hardware is really good, and it seems to be really good. But yeah, like I said, you've got more options out there, and it is worth saying the Soltaro software, so the apps that you use aren't brilliant. And I will put on screen like the Soltaro app now, so you can see it's not brilliant, but it does everything you need. So you can monitor what you need. To a point, it's really difficult to dig back into the data, but it's the charging schedule. So part of the great thing about having battery storage as well, especially with the heat pump, isn't just saving the production, it's saving, you can charge your batteries from the grid if you're on a cheap tariff with cheaper rates. I shouldn't say cheap tariff, a tariff with cheaper rates at certain times. You can charge your batteries during the cheaper rates and use the batteries when it's more expensive. And that's exactly what we did. You're probably now interested in the figures, so let's just jump straight into it. This is for my 4-bed house. Well, I should say we got me, my wife, and our 2 young children. 4-bed house in the southwest of England, and we do have like a conservatory kitchen thing. It's like, you wouldn't say it's a conservatory if you were in there. You might have seen in one of my other videos. I'm sat in there talking in the conservatory. It's sort of like there's no division between it, so and it is a little bit leaky. So hot air just goes straight out. So that does make it a little bit more expensive than your average house to heat. You can, so we were on Octopus Flux. That is a tariff where you get cheap rate at night for charging your battery and an expensive rate in the day. Peak hours, I think it's between 4 and 7, something like that. But also the export rates are higher during those hours. So some people do discharge their batteries to the grid to get paid more. We didn't, because I decided that it wasn't worth using the battery cycles. At first, we were, during the first summer, which electricity rates were really high, but also the export rates were really high. We were getting some really good export rates down there. My export rates don't necessarily matter to you, but you can put the export and import figures into your rates and see if you can balance it based on a tariff you're on to work out if it's worth it for you. So during the summer months, we were getting about some months £200 in credit. And I think I estimated at the time it was about 7 to 10 years return on investment. But that's changed substantially. It's not as favourable today. The highlight figures for the summer and winter. So in June 2023, we imported 20 kilowatt hours from the grid, but we exported 857 kilowatt hours. And that is, so for the exports, we got paid £196.38. And for the import, we paid £22.85. So it's a net credit of £173.53. And that's June in summer 2023. I will show the bill, put the bills on screen. 2 bills for 1 month. I don't know why. But if you did want to plug my export figures into your own calculations, please go for it. In winter, totally different in winter. So this is the January, so probably one of the coldest months and the worst months for solar generation. We imported 192 kilowatt hours, and there was effectively no export paid because we used every bit of energy we were charging our batteries with. And that cost us £48.80 in electricity, cheaper than it would have otherwise, because obviously we were charging at night in the cheap rate and then using from our batteries. I have gone through the bills for a year, and I will put headline figures up for 2023. I'm not going to put all the bills up because that might bore the hell out of you. We imported in 2023, we imported for the year, about a calendar year, I'm a few days off, but for about a calendar year, we imported 1,283 kilowatt hours, and that cost us £438.44. And we exported in 2023 3,888.8 kilowatt hours and we got paid or credited £840.21. I don't have the actual generation values. Like I said, with the system we got, the software makes it really hard to get all the generation figures out. So I've actually based this on the import and export values in the Octopus app and against my Octopus energy bills. So that is a net position of £401.77 in profit or credit. But that does really underestimate the benefits, because obviously we're not using electricity from the grid. It might be worth saying we still do have to pay the standing charge. So at the time, I remember thinking and estimating, I thought, oh great, we're going to have about a 7 to 10 year return on investment. So 7 years, probably now I'm being through the figures, looks a bit generous, but if it was a 10-year return on investment, that would have been about a saving of about £1,900 per year. But consider we were also paying for gas and the standing charge for gas. And this isn't facts backed up by numbers. This is my memory of what I thought at the time. So, bear in mind, it's not exact mathematical values there. Things are different now, as I said. The solar systems and battery storage are a lot cheaper. The export rates are still a lot worse as well, last time I checked. But there are more tariffs and more flexibility out there, so you can shop around for something that would work for you. So these are just our real world numbers. I'm not saying this will save you £400 per year. A year. Please do just either plug my figures into your own calculations, or just bear in mind that this is just my experience. And you can't make a 5, 10, 15, 20-year plan with solar based on today's rates, because it's wildly different. Also, even year to year, the figures for what you get paid for export, the generation will change wildly. This year's been really good for generation over summer because we've hardly had any rain, which has been great. Although unfortunately the export rates this year, they put the prices of import up, but the prices of exports gone down, which is really frustrating. And I'll go into that into my heat pump video, because that will be based on this year. Now we've got the solars and the heat pump all working and set up. So the figures aren't the full story. I mean, emotionally, and I do like the fact that we are producing our own energy. And when people ask, well, what are you doing for the environment? I can say, oh, well, I've got solar and battery storage and a heat pump. So sometimes it's just nice to there are other things other than return on investment, and if you're buying a new car, people don't say, oh, what's your return on investment on that? Or if you're getting a new kitchen, people say, what's your return on investment with that? As it happens, solar, I think those figures suggest solar is actually a decent return on investment. So some quick tips. If you're getting solar installed and want to be paid for your exports, make sure your installer understands all the calculations and the distribution network operator requirements. So in our case, Sustain Heating Renewables handled everything. We just called them up. They came around, looked at the house. The DNO actually had to come, we're at the end of a cul-de-sac, so the DNO had to come that round and dig up the road and put new cables, bigger cables down our street, not for just our solar, but the next door neighbour's got solar, and it prepares the rest of the houses. And I know a couple of the neighbours do have electric vehicles as well, but we didn't pay anything for that. They did. Sustain just sorted everything out. The DNO just contacted us when they were going to come and made the change. And there was, I think our electricity was off for about 20 minutes one day because they run the cable up in parallel, and then the actual time when they plug the new one in, it was about 20 minutes. They had to go through our drive, but again, what they did is they actually bored underneath the drive and they created a little hole and then connected it up there because there was a wire going into our house already. And so yeah, it was surprisingly simple. I was quite worried about it, but it was surprisingly simple, and it was all free. Would I do it again? 100%, based on the nice feeling, but those figures. Was it financially worth it? Again, yeah, 100% it was financially worth it. Now we have a heat pump, it's even more worth it. But based on today's figures for the cost of installation and the cost of energy, the figures would, I expect, be totally different. And back when we were choosing the tariff, there was only a couple of tariffs we could choose from, and we chose Octopus Flux because that gave the best combination of low input rates to charge the batteries and high export rates. There's so many different ones now based on whether you've got car chargers, whether Octopus can integrate with your car chargers. Also, you'd probably want to pick a tariff based, or your hardware based on the tariff, because I know some car chargers, Octopus will give you higher export if they can control your export. So it's worth looking into that if you do want Octopus to control your export and control when you charge your car. I plan on getting an electric car at some point, and that will make it even more worth it. I'll probably wait till this car dies, because we do love our car. And again, I've said it, tariffs change. Do not base a 10 to 20 year plan on the current tariffs. Is a heat pump worth it? Well, that's what I'll go into in my next video. I mean, I've already told you the answer. The answer is yes. then hopefully in my next video, I'll do a video and I'll go through similar figures for solar, battery, and heat pump running costs, and also the result of having a heat pump on the comfort of your house. Thank you.